Hello, I'm FPX and welcome back to Store Sunday. This is the Sometimes Weekly series on my channel where I show you Minecraft store content that is particularly interesting and worth checking out in some way. And today I have some very good news to share with you all because BDcraft, which is one of the most successful texture packs of all time, it's been downloaded millions of times across the Java and Bedrock versions. Now there is a second texture pack from the same people and it's called Vanilla BDcraft. So it's all the beauty and handcrafting of the BDcraft texture pack, but everything is designed to look like vanilla, not like a comic book. And this is something that interests me because I love vanilla Minecraft, but maybe if vanilla Minecraft was HD, and believe me, this is HD, it's 128x on consoles and 256x on PCs, there is a lot more pixels, between 64 and 256 times more pixels than you'll find in default Minecraft. So how does that actually look? How does that actually respond to actual game, play and normal stuff, etc.? That's what we'll be finding out in today's video, which I hope you all do enjoy. You can like this if you do like Store Sunday, but let's dive straight into the review. So again, I'm going to use my Let's Play world as a fair comparison because I have a fair number of wooden builds, stone builds, overworld, just natural generation, and it's a good way to see what a texture pack actually looks like as opposed to cherry picking certain blocks that are good or bad. And immediately you're going to see how, like, oh yeah, look at the mobs, for instance, they have a lot more detail to them. You can see how even though there's some of that famous comic book style, like the dog has pentagon shaped eyes for some reason, you can see just in general though there's a lot more detail. And when you get about this distance back, you can just see the detail is immediately obvious. Everything looks so much better. Like these stairs, for instance, it's just wood, but it looks so much better than default wood. And you'll start to spot this for a lot of blocks that you might otherwise like. Look at the jack-o'-lantern, look at these trees over here, for instance, and you'll start to see, like, yeah, the detail there is quite intense. And depending on the block, you'll see more or less changes from vanilla. Sometimes they just take the vanilla texture and HD it. In some cases, like with these leaves, you'll see how it's like almost a brand new block entirely. Same with stone, in my opinion, where, like, it is clearly the stone color, but it has so much more texture than the kind of blank gray you'll get by default. So yeah, just keep that in mind as you go through this. Like, some textures have changed a lot, and some textures haven't changed too much. It's not really a consistent wash across it. However, the textures that are good are really, really good. Again, the ones that have improved, in my opinion, are solidly done. Like, look at this crafting table, look at this furnace. They look a little bit strange from a certain distance. It's jarring when you first get used to it because of the angles and stuff, but in general, I'm loving the look of that. I'm loving the look of most of the things that I see when I look around my house in the household area. So if you like this kind of like naturally styled look, if you like this, Minecraft plus kind of look, then this is an amazing use of Minecoin/money, because again, if you're not familiar, on the Bedrock editions, this will cost you money to download because it's available via the store. And yeah, you can look around, just immediately see, like, oh, it is kind of like this weird mix between comic book and regular. This sheep does not look like a regular sheep, but is that a good thing? It comes down to you. Again, personally, the comic book style is something I kind of liked but could never get used to with the regular Minecraft, but this is a much more neutral kind of pattern that you might be better suited with. So let's now check out the other things we like to show off on this, because again, this is a good opportunity to show off all the different parts of the world and show you, like, lots of builds that are built for vanilla but maybe upgraded into this. Because the big thing people forget about texture packs is from starting a new world, it's fine, everyone has the exact same experience, but most people who try out a new texture pack, they're going to be trying it out on an existing world, and if your existing world has just horrible meshes, that's not going to be good. So I like using this world because it should have a good a good mix of all the different things that might go on there. So let's move that, put it over here, and let's fly ourselves over to this wood build right here. So this is my spawn building. As you can see, it's a bunch of wood fences, etc. And again, looking at the wood, there's a lot more detail. I don't think it looks so great on the wood planks themselves. I think this just looks like, again, comic book wood in my opinion. But looking at something a bit more detailed, like say stone, we'll fly up to the top of this. You can see how, like, oh, actually the higher pixel count, the significantly higher pixel count from 16x to 128x on consoles is seriously noticeable in a pretty good way. I think this looks better in terms of stone bricks because it looks like a real castle in some ways. It's not meant to be a castle, but you could see how you'd make a really good castle from this. You could see how, like, using wood in the right way, you could make a really nice kind of build in that way. And that's what I immediately just noticed about most things in this. However, the big tests of performance, in my opinion, are a lot of the biomes with bizarre blocks and also wool. These are the builds that are messed up by so many texture packs, and in this case, the wool, despite having a lot more texture, look at the detail it technically has. From a distance, it works perfectly as wool, and it even manages to look clearer. This looks more like actual swords than my default Minecraft texture, which is impressive. Very few texture packs can say they do that, and similar enough, if you go to the desert, for instance, again, everything looks the same from the sky. This is my destroyed desert, so it's just sandstone, stone, torches, etc. It looks exactly the same. Even the gravel, which is a disaster of a block, I mean, it looks pretty bad, but it's pretty much the same up close. But there are a few textures I really do love, in the natural world, such as the cacti. I think this is just a hands over head improvement. There's no way to say old cacti is better than this one in my opinion. This just has a really nice charming look to it. Same with the gravel to some extent, if you like the gravel look, and if you do then something's wrong with you. But same with sandstone, it looks the same, but also there's more detail there if you want to look into it for like close range stuff. And yeah, I think that's the beauty of this texture pack. Everything is immediately familiar, everything is immediately recognizable, but then if you want to start seeing other stuff, if you want to use it to make more detailed builds, you can totally do that. So a fun example of this is look at this roof right here. It's great, it looks so much better than default, and it makes it look like it's a really nice handcrafted artisanal build or whatever, and if that's your thing, that's your thing. However, glass is a big question, a lot of people always have, and interesting enough, despite this being a 256x texture pack on PC, you look at it and you're like, oh, so they've just made it entirely transparent, and that's beautiful. I mean, the lines are a little bit, looks like a weird matrix grid or something, but removing the line and the texture, this is what we want from default Minecraft glass, and the fact that you get this in vanilla, and the fact that it looks so good in this resolution is confusing, because there's basically nothing there, but still somehow works apparently, and yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful. I love it personally, and I think it looks solid, and this might be like a selling point for some people by itself. However, there's more to a texture pack than just the overworld, even once you've included the builds, even once you've included the natural world, so let's go into the Nether, and let's show you that, because this Nether is quite an astounding one in my opinion. So yeah, as we hop into the Nether, you can see Nether brick is changed a little bit, but Nether stone is significantly changed. Again, they really go back to the old bloodstone kind of thing, where the Nether, rack is literally bleeding blood because it's the Nether. The stone bleeds. What do you mean stone shouldn't bleed? It's the Nether. Your rules don't need to make sense here, and it looks absurdly interesting. I would say it's not a good texture, but it probably could be used in that way, and that's what I love. Netherrack is currently mostly a useless block in terms of, wow, I just landed in a fire, in terms of like actual building, but when you look at this, you see that like, oh, you could use this in so many fun, actually useful ways, and that's beautiful. It's a really detailed, bloody texture that fits the Nether perfectly while also still being a good block. Again, it's maybe we've just seen a lot of good Nethers recently, but I'm loving that. When you look at the soul sand, it's less impressive. Like, it's good. I mean, I like those faces, etc. Like, it's not a bad block, but it's not the thing I fall in love with. And also when you look at the lava, flowing lava looks horrific. I really don't like it. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's something to do with that, but you can see that just like, oh yeah, that regular lava, when it's a full block, looks great. It's got like a weird spooky face on, like a hell-raising cat. Again, like it looks clever up close while also being lava at distance. When it's like this though, it's just plain ugly. I don't think there's any real other way around that. Don't like it. Would like to see some improvements on that one. And while we're talking about things that perhaps could do with some improvements, I love the way most tools exist in this update. Look at this pickaxe. Look at the detail there. Look at this sword. Look at the amount of detail. Even my armor, etc. You can see they're like, oh yeah, they put a lot of thought and depth onto all of these different things here. But the one thing that they didn't do is, even though this released after the 1.8 update, the cats and panda update, it launched like maybe they didn't realize it was coming out, but they launched it a little bit afterwards, but didn't include support for it, which is a pretty critical sin in my opinion, because then you've got this wonderful shovel, this wonderful sword, and then you've got a crossbow, and then look at this beef, for instance. Look how much detail this beef has. Does your beef need this much detail? It shouldn't do, but it might do. But then look at this crossbow by comparison. Look at this sword, look at this shovel, the beauty in all these things, and then the crossbow. Like, it's, again, I'm not saying the crossbow is bad looking, I like it personally, but again, the blockiness style mish-up there is a bad thing. I think when this texture pack isn't updated, it loses a lot of its value, and there's a lot of things that need to be updated that just haven't. When you look at cats, for instance, you'll see the same thing. Looking at pandas, looking at bamboo, like we're gonna do sometime soon. But first of all, we have another place we need to check. So I love showing off all of the beauties of the Nether, but there's also the end in your Minecraft world. You might spend more time there, particularly if you want to get elytras. Maybe you lost some stuff and you need to fly after it to get it. Crazy hypothetical, I know. But let's say you're in the end right here, and oh, there's a lot of endstone over here. Look at this. This is quite an astounding little thing. And yeah, I like the end personally. I'm a fan of it. I think it's got the same kind of quality where endstone can look like endstone from a distance, but then up close, it looks better than just this weird kind of pixely thing. And that's what I would like from a HD texture pack. Again, things just looking pretty much the same, being recognizable. You can play Minecraft without thinking about it, but then when you start to pay attention, when you start to think about it, when you get close to things, it's immediately visible. They're like, oh, that's a much better bedrock, or like, oh, these are are much better, obsidian pillars. This is just my obsidian wall for texture pack showcases now. But like, look at it. It's like, oh yeah, that's some good stuff going on there. So yeah, in general, what I would say is most blocks, they've nailed it pretty good. But when it comes to a few blocks, it's not as good as I'd like, because the amount of cartoonishness is pretty inconsistent across the texture pack. Like looking at my dog, for instance, okay, a little bit cartoony eyes. Looking at the cows, for instance, it's like, okay, no, they're pretty normal, but they've got weird, like, they've been on drugs for like 8 days in a row eyes. Then the sheep is just like, what is going on here? Again, even looking at like this towards my inventory, like these are fairly consistent, but the sword looks way less detailed than the I don't know how this looks like, than the shovel, for instance, or the axe. Like these things have so much more detail, and they also have like kind of different styles. I think obviously they designed this to try and fit together, but the fact that there are some blocks without textures, I know this is unavoidable and it will be updated, but in the time where it's not, it makes it in some ways not unplayable, but a real problem. The fact that there's an inconsistent style to the whole thing in a lot of places, to me, is a problem. I would say it's not game-breaking. I would say this is still one of the best texture packs I've ever used. Let's show you one of the last little sections, which of course be underground. You can see how, like, just flying around any part of the world, this looks good. It looks like we're playing vanilla Minecraft sometimes, and then better than vanilla Minecraft others. Like, it's one of the few texture packs that objectively adds to Minecraft for the most part, but then there are a few places where it doesn't, and that's why I wish there was like maybe like a all the way, because this is meant to be vanilla craft, takes vanilla, makes it look slightly better, but I fear because BD craft is so popular, a lot of it has been influenced by the comic book style, which is, sometimes a good thing. Again, look at that sword, look at the detail in 128x, but even though that's, a good thing in a lot of different ways, if for people like me that deliberately don't use BD craft, it's like, we didn't buy vanilla because we wanted the BD craft stuff. We want it to be vanilla and then mostly stay that way. But again, overall, positive things to say for the most part. I would say that this is one of the better texture packs out there. You should give it a look, as long as when you play updates, you're fine switching back to vanilla, or you're fine just seeing vanilla blocks mixed in with the super high quality dirt and the super high quality wheat and the super high quality everything. If you're fine with that, this is a great texture pack. This is a texture pack that will, it'll take you places. But, however, if on the other hand, you're the sort of person who needs everything to be in a consistent style, the problem you have with texture packs is the inconsistencies, then I don't know what I think about this. But, personally, I like it. I think I might use this in a few live streams from time to time. Probably won't turn on the UI, because you can turn on the UI and the texture pack separately. But, this just looks like better. Actually, this is a bad example. This just looks better than regular wheat. This is another example of, cartoony carrots as opposed to real carrots. But yeah, that's my issues. That's how I would fix things, try and get a more consistent style. But in general, good things to say. Would recommend. Hope you did all enjoy this week's Store Sunday. Make sure you like it if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like Store Sunday. Share if you really liked it, and let me know in the comments down below. Is this something that only I love? Because I think a lot of people, when they use texture packs, they go for the craziest ones almost, it seems, imaginable. So texture packs I don't even know why people would enjoy. But then when you look at this one right here, for instance, you see something entirely different where it goes for a vanilla feel, and this is what I've always wanted in Minecraft, so you can have the beauty of a texture pack without any of the unfamiliarity, without any of the gameplay hindering stuff, or, in the case of people watching me, like the watching experience being hindered, because I hate watching texture packs. It takes a while to get used to a brand new texture pack, and that's not something that's good for the viewing experience, and I feel like this is one of the few texture packs that's easy to understand, easy to view, immediately off the bat. But am I wrong about that? What do you think? Use your words down below to let me know. In the meantime, here's the pink sheep, which is somehow inexplicably still alive, and here is a creeper, which is, oh god, that is a terrifying look for a mob. But yeah, I like it a lot, and I guess I'll see you all in next week's Store Sunday, where we'll be covering something else. Actually, Christmas is coming up, so Christmas recommendations of Toy Cat. Buy this, buy probably, I like Survivor Games Origins. I think that's a fun enough map. But also, Don't Stop Running is always on my holiday list of things to recommend. And there you go, recommendations of Toy Cat. Also, buy a pony, because, no one expects a pony for Christmas. And you'd be the best father, brother, lover, or sister in your household. So, give it a think, and I guess I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.